Welcome back to the vBrownBag HC380 build day here at HPE in Houston. Welcome again, Bharath. Bharath is the product manager for Hyperconverged here at HPE. And I thought we'd take a little while to talk about the customer uses that you see the HC380 going into. Just thinking about the high-level ideas, because he's product manager and we don't really want to get too deep into the technical stuff.
Which we could if you wanted to.
But let's have a talk a little bit around where you see the HC380 being deployed. I'm interested that the deployment guide talks about three primary scenarios of general purpose, virtualization, VDI, and cloud system. And whether you see that mirrored in what customers are doing, and in particular that catch-all of general purpose virtualization. Sure. Are there use cases that you see the HC380 going into?
Yeah, I think it's probably easiest to just knock out VDI. I think one of our bigger competitors really established hyper-converged for VDI. And frankly, it makes a lot of sense given how VDI scales very linearly, the same way typically two-socket servers can scale linearly.
Yeah, and particularly for VDI, I love the way that there isn't a single point of consolidation of all of the performance requirements, the way there is with a monolithic storage array attached to VDI, sure, where you hit a brick wall that kills every user's performance when
being distributed works out in this case.
Yeah.
Now, with general purpose virtualization, this is where we see the lion's share of people looking at a hyperconverged environment. Where we started off really focusing on the user environment outside of vCenter. One of the common themes we run into is customers have VM admins or vAdmins. And these are relatively well-paid folks. And they complain to us because some of their highest priced, best employees are spending so much of their time doing very pedestrian tasks, which they would love to delegate to somebody more junior, but they're very reluctant to turn over the keys to vCenter. So we created this hyper-converged operating environment that really looks to allow more people to start doing those pedestrian tasks without having to run in vCenter.
Right.
And that's really what we call VM vending, right? It's how do I take the top 5 things, spinning up VMs, tearing down VMs, creating images, all of the tasks that consume a VM admin's life, and figure out how to democratize that. That's the use case that we're going after.
Right. So to free up the high-value, high-skilled engineer to do the thing that is actually high-value to business.
That's right.
And then push down the more routine, help desk-driven activities down to an engineer who's not necessarily as deeply skilled and is therefore not so expensive.
Well, and you asked the question too, what are customers running? So we look at things like a DevOps environment. The first round of customers that went through this just went directly to the cloud. They're like, you know what, that's going to be our silo. We're going to go run it in the public cloud.
And that was the only place that you could run a DevOps environment 5 years ago.
Right. Now what happened was everyone looked at the entry point of the cloud and loved it.
It's a great place to start, and it's a great place to fail.
Now the only problem though is when they developed something and then people started using it, and then it became production and people started accessing it.
What, dev systems become production without planning and operations
Occasionally
involvement?
That's been known to happen. And when that happened, the cost profile completely went upside down.
So public cloud is a very expensive place to succeed.
That's right. It's a great place to try and fail.
Yes.
So then they came to us and they said, well, what can you do for this? And they said, well, just what's wrong with today, the way it runs? And I said, well, our service request manager, our SLAs to deliver VMs, it's great when someone's deploying like an Exchange system for 3 years, but it fails miserably when somebody is requesting a VM every half hour, which is indicative of this type of continuous development environment.
Absolutely, and then disposing of those VMs a day later as well, which again is, if you don't dispose of the VMs, you get a serious problem with sprawl.
Which, by the way, is still less painful than doing it in the public cloud.
Oh yeah, public cloud sprawl, you're paying those every...
that meter keeps running.
Every hour you're paying for that VM.
So, going back to this situation, they said, well, what can you do to help us? Because right now, we have an SLA between 3 hours and 3 days to go deliver that bare metal VM. And our developers aren't going to wait. I mean, my kids, when they want to watch cartoons, they reach into my phone and 30 seconds later, they're watching something.
Yeah.
This is the kind of environment, this is what the workplace is turning into.
The speed of fulfillment.
Now, instant gratification, go.
Yeah.
3 days to deliver a VM isn't working. So we said, look, We can give you an environment where you can pull all that out, your security policy, your data retention policy, your versions, your binaries, your images, wrap it up, put it in this hyper-converged environment, and through that operating environment, I can now effectively create a self-service portal where now that can get handled outside of my service request manager.
Right.
Everybody's happy. The VM admin's happy, the IT admin's happy, the compliance officers are happy, and most importantly, your users are happy.
They're getting their VMs when they need them. It's not getting in the way of the actual workflow of creating whatever it is, the product that is being created.
Well, like, God forbid, let's think about our customer here, right?
Let's not be the department of no.
Right. So it's like, yeah, here's the department of sure, you can do it. You're going to have to do it my way, but hey.
Yeah, you're going to have to still fit within policies that we've set, and there's going to be resource constraints. It's going to be your problem if you want to run 100 VMs when you've only got capacity to run 50.
Have you ever met a developer that had a strong opinion on what hardware anything runs on?
I think they're usually more concerned about the build chain of tools that go on top.
When you try to talk hardware to a developer, they typically, whatever.
Yeah.
But what they want is they want the efficiency, they want the speed. They don't even care about the economics, right? It's someone else that cares about that.
Somebody else's problem
so
there.
What we tried to do with our HC380 is deliver against cloud speed, cloud economics, and really delivering a very similar user experience to going out to the public cloud.
And that's what you're seeing as being the primary use for these in particular.
So that's the central IT use case.
Yeah.
The other use case that we see is a remote office, where you may not have the right skill set. You might not have a VM admin, a storage admin, a compute admin, and a backup admin.
Right.
Or distributed sites, manufacturing facilities with 50 places across the country. They don't have the OpEx to spend on just dusting off the playbook and refreshing the existing infrastructure. No customer I know, our budget's growing.
Yes.
So as they're having to tighten their belt, they're looking at alternative means to deploy. What we see getting replaced with hyperconverged is for compute attached to storage with some backup solution. And they're looking for a better way to run that, and that's where they're looking at things like the HC380. A 4-node cluster out at a remote site is remarkably capable.
Delivers the same capability as what they had before, and a full rack is now 8U.
And it's a completely different OpEx profile.
And it's all designed to be managed without physical touch. It's rack and stack once.
And when it is, it's now done in a way where no one's exposed to vCenter, right? It works nicely. We've had a couple of environments where we hear feedback from our customers that, hey, my professor can now spin up VMs for his cluster. We've seen smart salesmen at car dealerships be able to do pedestrian IT troubleshooting. When we talk to our channel partners, a lot of times they're the IT backstop for their customers. Now we're making their life a lot easier. One of the things that we've done with the HC380 is not only have we built a very simple user interface that isn't in vCenter, we also have a mobile app.
Right.
So now there's no carrying around your laptop to dinner with your wife. Now I can go directly from that or a tablet and do a lot of the, well, not a lot, I can do some of the remediation that may save me a lot of time. So, we really focus our best on how do I make the user experience simplified, easy, and cloud-like.
Right. And of course, as we progress through this build day, we're going to actually build this out and see what it looks like to operate. And maybe we'll actually get it running on a mobile device, and we'll be managing it from a mobile device from here. We'll just have to see how that one runs out.
Excellent.
Well, Bharath, thank you very much for helping us understand a little more about how the HC380 fits into our business's IT. And thank you for being here for the HC380 Build Day.
Oh, thanks for having me.